All right, welcome to Z's Bees. We're going to do our first inspection. This is 5 days after installing our nucleus colonies. I just want to check my feed levels, and we inserted them with drawn comb, so I want to see if they're moving around. Our spring has been very weird here in Wisconsin. We went from basically nights that were freezing to now today and tomorrow it's supposed to be up in the 80s. So the plants are all coming up. I just want to see where they're at. So we're going to take this off. My smoker went out. Because they're a smaller colony, I'm going to just work without smoke at this point. Might not be the smartest decision, but we'll see. So looking in here, looks pretty good. And there's only a little bit of food, and look at all the comb they've drawn already. I'm not going to break that seal, so I'm going to keep it the same way. And just based on the looks here, I am actually going to go get some smoke. All right, so you see the comb that they're already drawn out? It's really good. So we'll just give them a little puff of smoke. Bring them down. This is a feeder board. Gonna pop it off, all the propolis that's there. And I'd say we are in business, and I need to add a box like now. So we'll take a look, make sure the queen is not up on top. That pollen patty they're devouring. All right, I can tell it's early in the year. My smoker went out twice. This hive right here is packed with bees. I need to get them another box. They're already starting to store nectar. Hopefully here I can give you a little bit better look. Oh, we also found the queen in there, but we were kind of moving quickly. Didn't get a lot of footage. So we'll see how this one is. Okay, about the same amount. A lot of bees in there. Let me just put this over here. Again, I don't want to turn that bucket down, just from the sense of I don't want to break the seal or the pressure that they've created. You can see they're a new hive. They want to build wax. That's all within a couple days. Let's see what we look. This was the nuke that was a little bit more flighty, and I can see already that they had a lot of bees kind of take off. There's no real rhyme or reason for that. It doesn't mean that they're aggressive. It's just that they choose to fly. So let's see here. Boy, the pollen patty recipe that I made must have been pretty decent. I'm just looking to see that the queen's not up there. You see this wax here, nice and soft. I'm just going to take some of that off. We'll save that to melt down. If you want to hover over, I see bees in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 frames, meaning that we're 90% full, meaning we need another box. So let's just take a look here. Now this, I believe the nucleus colony was these 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or it was these middle 5 here. So let's just start on the end. This was a honey frame. We'll give them a little bit of smoke. And they all go down. Very calm today. Bees have a nice demeanor. So I've now spotted between my install and today all 3 of my queens. Looks like they have been eating a little bit of the pollen, or the honey was there. And that's all freshly drawn wax. So that's what the bees are doing. I see a little bit of pollen and a little bit of nectar being brought in. I have this new frame holder, which hooks on the side, and it's really nice because you can continue to work without setting them down. So let's take a look here. This is a light frame. We've got all kinds of bee bread, which is pollen and nectar mixed. I see a couple drones, which are the boy bees, or the male bees, I should say. Really taking a hard look for that queen, but I see that this is just kind of pollen and nectar. This is our Apivar mite strip. That's a medication for the varroa mite. Again, if you remember, all these bees were in 5 frames. Again, look at all that bright yellow pollen. There's brood around there. Seeing if I see the queen on there at all. I don't. They're drawing that all out nicely. I don't see any eggs in there right now. So the population on this frame was not packed. I have one bee that's bumping me quite a bit on my hand. Just wearing gloves today. I mainly do that just to keep all the propolis and sticky stuff off my hands. It's just more annoying than anything. And let's see if we can't find the queen here. I don't need to do a full inspection. Look at how nice that looks. That's all brood. They're backfilling though with pollen and nectar, meaning that they need room. And let me show you here. I see the start of a queen cell right here, which I'm just going to squish down, and it was empty. That was probably an emergency cell. The bees are all walking around. They have pollen on their legs. Can you get nice and close on that? So they're looking to store. So there's a lot of pollen right now. Let's see if we can find Miss Queen. I don't see her right now, but if we don't provide them some room, they're going to start to say, you know what? We have a sufficient population. We should reproduce. And they reproduce as a colony by swarming. So let's take a look. Again, I'm looking at the bottom. I see a little bit of drone brood. Those are the pieces down below that are a little bumpy. This was a really big queen, this was the small, skinny queen. I see some larvae. A couple bees are getting frustrated, so I'm going to button this hive up. I'm not going to disturb them anymore. We'll pull this over gently. We'll pull this one over gently. We'll pull this one over. We'll give them a little more smoke just to kind of calm them down. We'll put our honey frame, which is normally on the outside. I'm just looking at this one right here. I thought it was the queen at first. It would be unlike that she'd be out there, but you never know. A lot of keepers do find their queens on outside frames. I have not yet. So we're going to close this one up. I found out what I wanted to find out is that they have expanded rapidly. We need to add another box. We need to separate them. We need to separate their brood because they're starting to get what's called honey bound, meaning that they don't move pollen a whole lot. They don't move honey. They will move honey, but the queen won't go outside of that. So her area to lay becomes much less. So I have a couple of bees that are bumping me pretty good here. So we'll give my hand a little bit of smoke. No sting yet. We'll change the pheromone around here. We'll put their lid back on. They're letting me know, hey, we've been open long enough. That pollen patty is still good. That was about a 1 pound patty. We'll close that. We'll put their food back on. This one's about half full. That one there is only about a quarter full. We'll put our protection box back on. All the wood chips are sticking to the propolis on the bottom. Propolis is your tree saps and resins that they create propolis, and that's how they seal up all the cracks and everything for the winter and just seal up their hive. They'll also do that on the hive entrances in a wild colony. All right, last one. Let's take a look real quick. One thing I'm noticing about myself today is that for some reason I just feel a little bit rushed doing this. I don't know if it's because I haven't worked with my bees in a while. The biggest thing is just to, again, work nice and slow with your colonies. On a day like this where it's 70+ degrees out, they can stay open for a long time. There's really no risk of your brood getting too cold. So let's take a look. Let's see what sort of, if that's a spider in there, what sort of creature we have up in here. Yep, that's a little spider. So we'll leave him to be. He's got a nice little spot there. Get all the insects that are looking for honey. Grab my... This little frame holder is really nice. I like that. So we'll pop off the protective cover. Those protective covers then, what's nice is I just need to bring down the frames and then they'll be my boxes. Okay, this one, look at that population again. Okay, we're doing something right over here. Again, they're looking to build. So I might give them a couple, you know, when you think of a nucleus colony, it's kind of like a swarm. They're ready to build. So I'm gonna probably give them a couple frames of just foundation. Let them build out a little bit, do some work. Okay, again, this population, Matt, if you just want to kind of go over the top, always want to look for the queen. I'm not seeing her. I just saw a little waggle dance, probably telling other bees that there's a tree that's producing nectar. Or... Let's take a look. Looking really solid. This is where they built up, where the food was. I'm just going to take that away from them. And they are, I'd say, yeah, almost like 10 frames out. So we'll take, and I'm going to hang my little frame feeder out there. And this one is just packed as well. If I'm not careful, I might catch my own swarm again this year. My goal is to manage my bees, manage the swarm. This was a frame that was all honey. Looks like it's still honey. They maybe have eaten it. This was from last year. That back side looks like they're eating it and storing pollen in there. So the one thing is that this is a 10 frame. They're doing good, but I provided them a lot of the resources, so they didn't have to do a whole lot in order to max this box out. Pollen, lots of pollen, nectar. Pollen is what they feed their little ones. They mix it in with the honey. They create what's called bee bread. This was one of the frames from the nuke. This feels lighter. Oh, look at this, is just a beautiful frame, but let me show you again. This is looks empty, but this is either a clean cell or an emergency cell. Based on the location, it's an emergency cell. So I'm just gonna squish that down. If the queen comes by and happens to say, you know what, I'm gonna lay in there, they'll draw that out, and there's potential that there could be a supersedure. Ooh, get real nice and close. This is all freshly laid. Let's look for the queen on this frame. Nice and close, you look in there. Look how nice and calm these bees are. Some bees will run around almost frantic. Look at these bees here. These are probably freshly hatched. How nice and light they are, as opposed to you get some darker ones. Color is not necessarily the tell-all indicator, but it can give you a little idea. Let me take out one more frame, because that frame was just awesome. Capped brood, fresh eggs. Capped brood surrounded by honey and pollen. Get nice and close on that. Just kind of look all around. Pollen on the outside. Oh, there's my queen. Let's take a look at her. You guys see her yet? Take a look on the bottom. You see her? I'd look right in this area right here. There she is. All right, so she's right on the edge. I put this in, I want to make sure she's very susceptible to get squished. So when I put her in like that, I want to slowly draw this over. Slowly draw that one over. So I saw eggs, I saw the queen, saw capped brood, saw pollen, saw nectar. Nothing more that you want to see. Now my concern, not overly concerned, actually it's a good thing, is that they are growing at a rapid pace, which is exactly what we wanted to do. But now is where the beekeeper, the manager, comes into it and has to manage when to add the different boxes so that they don't necessarily swarm. Swarming is a good behavior. It means that the hive is healthy. But as a keeper, and like most, I want to get some honey. I want to have healthy bees. I don't want to lose my bees. I want to try and prevent them from doing that. So it's trying to prevent what nature is telling the bees to do. Get them to go down like this. Nice and slowly, you kind of twist it, slide it, let bees, give them a chance to get out of the way. Again, I kept my feeder bucket inverted or upside down so that I don't break that seal that's in there, so that it doesn't free flow. If I were to turn that over when it's only half full and then turn it back, it has to get rid of all that other air before the suction can get there. So you can kind of wind up with a mess. All right, so we're getting them buttoned up. My work's cut out for me. Let me get this, actually I'll talk while I'm working here. What I'm gonna do tonight is I have 30 frames of deep foundation, or deep frames, which is what is in here. I have 30 of them that are completely full of mostly honey, but it's also from last year, so it's also sugar water. When I fed 2 to 1 in the fall, they stored that like honey. So I don't want to bottle that. That's not pure honey. I only bottle pure honey. So I don't want to waste it. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to uncap those frames. I'm going to spin them out. I'm going to store that honey, and that honey is going to go into those buckets early on so that they can draw out their frames. They can actually reuse that sugar water. They may store some of it. So I'm going to end up using that. What I can do then is I will have 30 wet frames. When you say wet, that means that they're, you didn't let the bees clean them out. But I'll take those 30 frames, I'll put 10 in this one, 10 in this one, 10 in that one, and put them on top. The bees will probably go into a little bit of a nice frenzy. They'll clean all those out, they'll polish them, and now you have drawn out honeycomb that the queen can now go up there and lay. What I'll probably do is in pairs, there's a video I watched of a very, very seasoned beekeeper talking about when you're doing splits or when you're moving brood around, you don't want to move just one frame of brood. You want to do them in pairs. So what I may do is take 2 frames of brood, move them up to that next box, slide together 3-4 frames down in the bottom box, and then on the outside I would put then the frames of that honey that is now in the bottom. That now then tells the queen that she can move up. It also tells the workers to move up, gives them some space. Hopefully it kind of treats them or tells them, hey, we have some room here, we don't need to swarm yet. So everything is looking absolutely perfect. My lid isn't on. Is that bothering anyone? It was absolutely perfect with how they all look. They expanded rapidly, way faster than I thought. That's the benefit of having drawn comb. If you can start using drawn comb. Last year I didn't have anything, so I put the 5 frames in there. I only had just the wax foundations. It took them a while to draw it out. So I want to get those other deeps on there, get them moving up. The nectar is already starting to come in. It'll continue to come in for a while. And then hopefully we can get some good honey. So thank you for watching. The videos should be a little bit more frequent now. I apologize for that last video. I lost about 30 minutes of footage of installing the nucleus colonies because I was trying to save storage on my phone, and I made the video using iMovie, and I went to delete the videos and I didn't realize that it deleted it from the iMovie. So with that said, thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. We're way up to like 205 followers or subscribers, which is awesome. Paige is excited about that. Again, this whole channel started because Paige wanted to have a YouTube channel, so the more support you can do there, that's great. Thank you.